Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain an episode called Good Boy, from a horror anthology, Into the Dark. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. Maggie Glenn is a reporter based in Los Angeles. She is in her mid-30s and has recently broken up with her boyfriend of many years. At the beginning of the movie, Maggie is in a restaurant, patiently waiting for her date. She is nervous because she has not been on a blind date since college. The date goes well until she asks the man about his thoughts on kids. He awkwardly says that he hasn't thought about it yet. He gets distant after the question and barely talks to her. Following the horrible date, Maggie returns home and starts looking for someone else on the dating site. She receives a message from a guy named Nick, but ignores it. The next day at work, she calls a fertility clinic and makes an appointment. Since she is about to turn 40, Maggie wants to freeze her eggs as an extra measure to ensure she can get pregnant in the future. She meets Dr. Linda, who runs several tests on her to see if her eggs are suitable for preservation. Maggie knows that the process is very expensive, but she hopes to get promoted at work very soon. However, her plan goes in vain when her boss, Dawn, announces their newspaper company is going digital. This would mean that all the employees are getting laid off. To keep them motivated, Dawn claims that they will get to work from home and will still get paid if they bring in traffic to the website. However, the pay is very low and not definite. Maggie has been working in the company for the past 12 years and doesn't know what she will do without the job. She gets a call from the clinic informing her that she is eligible for the IVF program. She is delighted but knows that without the promotion, she will never be able to afford the procedure. Her boss, Dawn, who is also her good friend, senses her anxiety and suggests she get an emotional support dog. She takes it into consideration and goes to a dog shelter. Although she had decided to just take a look at the options, when she lays her eyes on a tiny gray dog, she instantly knows that he has to come home with her. The shelter's employee reveals that the dog's previous owner went to jail, and he was found by the police. Maggie brings the dog home and buys him toys. At night, she makes herself a Reuben sandwich and keeps it on the kitchen counter. To her surprise, the tiny dog somehow jumps on the counter and eats her sandwich in seconds. Maggie laughs it off and names the dog Reuben, like the sandwich. Starting that day, she brings him everywhere she goes and takes great care of the dog. Reuben helps her with her anxiety, like her boss had predicted. One day, while they're on a walk, Maggie notices a vacancy announcement at a local coffee shop. She starts working there as a barista for extra money. At work, Maggie meets Annie Powell, a girl who she used to babysit when she was in high school. Seeing that Annie is already engaged and has a huge social media following makes her feel worse about her life than she already did. The girls share their Instagram handles and decide to meet again someday. When Maggie returns home that day, a ball rolls towards her from under the sofa. Thinking that Reuben wants to play, she uses a rope toy to bring him outside. Reuben from the other side pulls the rope so hard that she barely manages to keep up. To her horror, Reuben has also left nasty scratches on the front door. She figures he might be missing her and dismisses the matter. That night, before going to bed, she goes through Annie's Instagram while complaining about her life to the dog. She texts back a guy named Nick from the dating app and arranges a date with him. The following evening, she and Reuben go to Nick's mansion. At first, Maggie is impressed by the size of his house, but she soon finds out that it doesn't belong to him. Nick starts getting closer to her, making her uncomfortable. Reuben seems to sense her anxiety. Maggie excuses herself and goes to the washroom, while Nick steps out of the house to smoke. He hears rustling from a bush and gets closer to inspect it. When Maggie comes out looking for Reuben, she finds him bloodied by the side of the road. To her horror, Nick's deformed dead body lies nearby. A neighbor calls the police, thinking that Nick might have been hit by a vehicle. The next day, Maggie takes the dog to the vet, who runs some tests on him and claims that he is perfectly fine. The blood on his fur might have been splattered on him from being too close when the accident occurred. She also takes his blood as a standard protocol for all dogs' first time at the vet. At home, Dawn calls her to tell that the story she covered about Nick's death is the first hit of their website. Maggie jumps in excitement when she is informed that one more hit story will ensure she gets a bonus. That weekend, Annie and Maggie go to a yoga class together. All the other dogs in the class bark at Ruben for no apparent reason. On returning home, Bia sees Ruben for the first time and disapproves of him being in her house. Maggie persuades her to let her keep the dog, promising to keep him inside a cage most of the time. Ruben senses that Bia is making Maggie anxious and barks at her. Later, she puts him in a cage to go to work. A while later, Bia is in her bathroom when Ruben appears there out of the blue. At work, Maggie meets a friendly customer named Nate. He leaves her his number on the back of the receipt. Upon returning home, she sees that the dog has somehow escaped from the cage and scratched a hole in the window. At the same time, she gets a call from Ruben's doctor, who says that his blood test results came out abnormal, so they want to draw his blood again. After the call, Maggie enters Bia's apartment and finds her mauled dead body in the bathtub. A horrified Maggie tries calling the police, but notices dog's excreta on the floor and the broken window. She puts two and two together and realizes that Ruben has killed Bia. She soon registers no one would believe that her tiny dog could kill. If people find out, they would probably suspect her of the murder. Still, Maggie isn't mad at her dog. Instead, she holds him tight and assures him that everything will be alright. Maggie is starting to seem like a psychopath. Following that, she cleans up the mess and wraps up Bia's body. She drives it to the countryside and buries her. After returning home, she buys Ruben an even bigger cage to ensure he stays inside. She totally ignores what happened and goes on with her life normally. One day, while sunbathing by the side of the pool, she is approached by Bia's niece, Elena, who asks her about her aunt. Maggie calmly tells her that she hasn't seen her in a few days. A police officer arrives to investigate the disappearance. To Maggie's surprise, the guy is Nate, the customer who had given her his number. That evening, they meet for a date at a restaurant. The two seem to have a lot in common. Maggie also finds out that having kids one day is on Nate's bucket list. They enjoy each other's company and decide to go out again sometime. Maggie writes about Bia's disappearance on the website and gets more traffic than ever. Dawn texts her saying she has just confirmed her bonus. After finding that out, she goes to the fertility clinic once again to go forward with the IVF procedure. She happily returns home that day, but soon finds out that her work bonus is only $200. She goes to Dawn's office and confronts him about the pay. They get into a huge argument, which ends when Dawn fires her from the job. Dawn is a verifiable piece of crap. She brings her belongings to the car along with Ruben when suddenly the dog runs back up. Before Maggie can get to him, she sees Dawn being attacked by Ruben through the window. She quickly rushes to Dawn's room and sees his bloodied dead body. Instead of freaking out, she calls Ruben a good boy. Following that, she throws Dawn's body off the building to make it seem like a case of suicide. She calmly brings Ruben home and cleans him up. After Dawn's death, Maggie gets promoted to his position in the company. She now has a good job, a loving boyfriend, and a backup plan if she can't have a baby. It's truly amazing the things that becoming a serial killer can do for you. That evening, Annie, Nate, and her friends go to a bar to celebrate Maggie's promotion. They also bring Ruben because Maggie is too scared to leave him on his own. One day at work, a policeman comes to see Maggie to inquire about Nick's hit-and-run case. He asks her why she was at the location of the accident, to which she claims that she was there to walk her dog. The policeman suspects her story, but has no evidence to prove her wrong. In the meantime, she continues visiting the fertility clinic. The procedure causes bruises on her arms and legs as a side effect. At night, Nate comes over to her house with a dog cam as a gift. He has hardly been able to spend time with her because she always has to return home to the dog. Hence, he believes the dog cam will help her with her anxiety when she is away from Ruben. Maggie thanks him and sets up the cam near Ruben's cage. Following that, they walk to Nate's house while enjoying cups of ice cream. A man bumps into them and walks away without apologizing. Maggie shouts profanities at him, surprising Nate. He calms her down and brings her to get another cup of ice cream. In the following scene, they are in Nate's bed, but Maggie is too worried about Ruben to focus on him. She checks on him through the camera, but is still unsatisfied. On returning home the next morning, she sees some policemen arresting Elena, who had been living in Bia's apartment. They believe that she is involved in her aunt's disappearance. Maggie quickly gets inside her apartment to see Ruben has trashed it completely. Later, she and Nate are hanging out by the pool, talking about Bia's case. Nate is unsettled by Maggie's intrusiveness about the case. He asks her regarding the bruises on her hands, suspecting that she is doing drugs. Maggie tells him about the IVF procedure. She has the final egg removal the following day, so Nate offers to drive her to the clinic. During the process, Maggie is given anesthetic drugs that make her hallucinate. She dreams of the doctor confronting her about all the murders. She tries to get free, but cannot because her hands are bound to the bed. After the process, Nate drives her home since she is too weak to do it on her own. At night, he is working late, so Annie comes over to keep her company. She tells Maggie that her husband is forcing her to try for a baby. Back in the police station, Nate's superior tells him about the prints that were found in 3 crime scenes, including in Bia's apartment. When he finds out that Dawn's crime scene also had the same prints, he starts to suspect Maggie. He calls her to tell her about the prints. Maggie freaks out and asks Annie to cut the phone call. Annie tries to reassure her that the prints just mean the killer will be found quicker. Ruben mistakes Annie for making Maggie anxious and attacks her. He somehow grows into a beast and drags her into the sofa. Maggie tries her best to save Annie, but is unsuccessful. After her death, she has no option but to clean the house and get rid of the body. She drives to the countryside and buries her dead body. Not wanting to keep doing this anymore, she drives away, leaving Ruben by the side of the road. In the meantime, Nate goes through footage from Ruben's dog cam and finds Maggie dragging Annie through the door. When Maggie reaches home, he confronts her about the murders and handcuffs her. Just then, the transformed Ruben barges in and attacks Nate, killing him at last. A while later, policemen arrive at the house and arrest Maggie for the murders. In the final scene, we see Ruben in the dog shelter yet again. The employee introduces him to a man who presumably brings him home.